everybody. We're live on this amazing Tuesday night. It's the start of high school season.
It is the start of high school season. There's a lot of volleyball. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on like Insta and Twitter and all that good stuff. It's good to see it all back.
And Sam and I are back together again. Here we are. We're thinking about changing the day of our webinar to Sundays through the high school season, potentially, just because everyone's going to start playing. Like a lot of people are playing tonight, and they're going that Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday schedule. So we're contemplating changing this to Sunday evening. So just as a heads up, that is likely to take place this next week. But we're here. We're excited to be here. And we want to welcome you on this evening. And before we really start our presentation, I am going to go ahead and share our screen here so we can go into our presentation here. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory on us before we dive in. I started my recruiting solutions 11 years ago. Most of you probably know me better as V-Ball Recruiter versus Kara Hill. But we're known by every coach in the program and every college in the country. And so really what we do is we design a recruiting strategy for your student athlete to help them get through every step of the way of their journey. And we meet you and meet with your family on a consistent basis and help you create content with your emails and your video editing, and really help you step by step through the journey from prepping for phone calls to preparing those emails, preparing for visits, talking to coaches at camp, all of those things. So that's a little bit about me and us. I'm also the director of the Under Armour All-America Camps and Games, which is kind of a new cool thing that has happened in the last 7 months, maybe. March. At this point. March is when we started. So I'm really excited for the All-America game that's coming up at the new year. So that's a little bit about me throughout this amazing journey of building this business. I met the most beautiful woman to the left of me who helped me be able to expand, and it's been an amazing 4 years. So Coach Sam, you want to talk a little bit about you?
Yeah, it's been magical. It's hard to believe it's already been 4 years. I was looking at something that says like 2018. I was like, oh, that seemed like yesterday. And the fact that you've already been doing this for 11 years, time's flying. But yeah, everybody, I was a college coach for 20 years with some stops at Rhodes, Mississippi State, and Eastern Illinois. And along the way, I got to meet Kara, and we were at the Lone Star qualifier, as we've shared this story, or I've shared this story, and we went to dinner, and the rest is history, as we say. And then, things change in the coaching world, and I had this amazing opportunity to join Kara, and it really has been magical ever since. And together, and along with Emily now, we're here to serve and to help. And this Under Armour piece has been fantastic. It was fun. And so we're just keeping it going.
It's awesome. All right, here we go. We're going to jump into the fall season. And the reason we decided to bring this up as a topic is, if you think about it, college coaches haven't had a season in 2 years. Like, it's a little crazy. For some programs, this is the first time that they've played in 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yes.
So we wanted to share and maybe put some things into perspective. And one of the things that I love that Sam brings to the table in this relationship is all those coaching years of experience. And, one of the things that I can appreciate, we're always talking internally about approaching coaches and the best timing and what we need to do together as a team to advocate for our clients. But what Sam really does is help explain what a day in the life of a college coach is, which I think is so relevant as we head into this time of year, because hopefully it paints a bigger picture and a better understanding for you on what to expect. So here we go. Do you want to talk about what a day in the life of a coach is? And I think, Sam, on a practice day, on an off day, and on like travel days, game days.
Sure. As everybody is pretty much in preseason right now, almost a lot of the D3s are about to start. The IVs are almost into that preseason piece as well. right before preseason starts, think about it. Most of these coaches are back into the office for the first time, like full go in a long, long time, or they've been going to the office now for maybe 30 plus days where they've been working from home. So that in and of itself is an adjustment, by the way. And then it's all these, like before you're trying to get your season planned out with your staff. And then what else is coming on? Like all these meetings, for example, like admin wants to talk, your sport admin wants to talk. You're trying to figure out what times you can practice. You got to have meetings with your trainers, what's going on with gym space. Like in the D3 world, for example, when I was at Rhodes, you had to deal with freshman orientation, for example. When did your freshmen have to be there? So what does that mean for practice? So all of that's going on. And then finally, it's Christmas time, your kids report, you have report day. Report day typically means a lot of meetings with a variety of people. And then the next day you start practice. And so however long people's preseason is basically, it's volleyball in essence, 24/7. You wake up early, make sure your kids are fed, is there some sort of workout? How many practices do you have during the day? Are there individuals? Are you watching film? Is there strength and conditioning? And you also see that a lot of teams are like also going on some like team bonding trips or doing some cool things. I've seen anything from like bowling to river rafting, going to the lake, having cooking sessions, like all this stuff. So that is consuming your day. And then it's repeat. And a lot of coaches are addicted to caffeine. So whether it's coffee or Diet Coke or whatever their choice is, there's a lot of that going on in their offices, by the way, as well. And then school starts. And so you kind of get back to a normal routine. And what does that mean? So for coaches, maybe you have to have early morning practice because of your gym situation. Others might have mid-afternoon practice. Sometimes they have it a little bit later. So yeah, you have practice for anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. Again, players are having workouts. Maybe there's some individuals going on. So members of the staff are in and out of the gym. But then you're also having, again, a lot of meetings, administration meetings, ADs getting back to school stuff, meeting with your athletic trainers, a daily update of what's going on with your players. If you are a Hard Knocks fan on HBO, which is with the NFL, and that season started last week with the Cowboys, the athletic trainer was is in the staff meeting and giving head coach, Mike McCarthy, the rundown on what's going on with everybody, including Dak Prescott. That happens every day with the coaches as well. Who can go full go? Who do you need to minimize reps? Who do you need to keep out so that they're ready to go for the season? There's already been kids that have been injured, having surgeries, unfortunately. So people are sick. So all that stuff that coaches hadn't necessarily dealt with a lot in the last, year and a half to 2 years, it's on like Donkey Kong. And that plays a pivotal role in what's going to go on and how they plan and all of that stuff as well. And sometimes that also happens like 30 minutes before practice. And then you're like, okay, we got to rethink on the fly. And then again, making sure that, all of your kids are registered for classes. They're taking care of what they need to take care of. What is the expectations with COVID protocols on campuses? Because that's still, a big piece of the puzzle that these coaches are having to deal with right now as well. So know that that's happening nonstop. When season starts and they travel, a lot of people will travel first thing in the morning. A lot of times it's getting on a bus and you have a nice little bus ride to wherever you're going to play. What happens on the bus? Well, most of your players probably try to sleep or they're watching videos on their laptops and all that stuff. As coaches, a lot of times, honestly, you're catching up on some emails, quite frankly. And a lot of it might be recruiting emails. So a lot of times coaches will say, hey, I'm on the road. Would you like to connect? Or they're going to text if they're able to text you. That happens a lot of times when they're leaving for those road trips later on the weekend because they have time on the bus where, in their office, it's not so-and-so coming into a coach's office or this person or that person and your players and managing all that. At least on the bus, you have a little more downtime where you can actually, concentrate and get some stuff done. Game days, obviously, when it's a game day, it's a very regimented schedule. I can share with you that when we had a 7:00 match when I was coaching, girls got to sleep in till a little bit late morning. We had breakfast at the hotel. I was very like, I wanted to have our serve and pass at say 11 o'clock, between 11 and 12, get back, have a little bit of downtime so that people could, if they needed to do some homework, if we needed to do study tables before going to that pregame meal 4 hours before our match at 7 o'clock, then getting to the venue, having scout again, going through some film, all that good stuff. So, you think that when it's game day, it's kind of an easy day because there's not you're just playing, but it's actually pretty regimented in terms of what's going on and the schedule and making sure that your players are taken care of, treatments, all that stuff as well. Did I cover it all?
Yeah, it was very detailed. I loved it. I hope you all loved it as well. I think that, I'm exhausted just listening to it, but, a couple other things. We think that there's going to be some fall clinics. There's been some coaches that have talked about having fall clinics. So there's a few things that we want to discuss here. First off, as Sam paints this big picture, know that it's going to be normal that communication is slow. And if you're not hearing from somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not interested. I just talked to a coaching staff today who had, several of our athletes at the camp, and, we had just had our first time to connect, and, was really able to share a little bit about, these athletes. And he said, like, look, I've got 25 text messages right now that I haven't gotten back to. I've got all these emails that I haven't gotten to. I get it. I understand. It's just not, it was not their top priority at the moment. So we've had reports of missed phone calls from college coaches. That's pretty normal right now too. So please don't take offense. If you're not hearing from a coach, just whatever you do, don't get offended and then just assume the worst, because it doesn't always mean that. The college team is the priority. And here's something else that I want to kind of, put out there and have you take into consideration. Athletic directors have not fired anybody in 2 years. Not really, not at the grand scale that we normally see after major seasons, whether it's indoor season or beach season. So what you need to know is we're going to get through the Thanksgiving holiday. And as we get closer to Christmas, we're going to see a lot of people lose their jobs, which is going to create a little bit of chaos usually in the industry, which it does. And so you need to be aware of that. Right now, if a coach's contract is up, or this was last year or was up in COVID and that got extended, that is definitely on a lot of coaches' minds, that they need to show up this season and they need to win. And so although recruiting is crucial, right, and building their team and making sure that they keep getting better, that is going through the back of a lot of people's minds. And those are conversations that Sam, Emily, and I all have had with different coaches, people getting excited about the season, but having it at the back of their head that they need to perform.
And I think going along with that is that if you follow the world of college athletics like we do, and I do really closely every day, is across the board at all levels, a lot of top administrators have decided to retire and call it quits after COVID. And so that means there are new ADs coming into play. And also there have been a lot of colleges and universities that are also having new presidents and chancellors and coming into play. So that all plays into the big picture of when you have a new AD and you got to build a relationship, and maybe you are at the end of a contract or just building that relationship and to see what you're all about. That's a lot of time that coach also has to put in and play the game, quite frankly, as I like to say.
So we're not saying that to scare you, but definitely to create awareness. And hopefully what it does is create a little bit of empathy on the other side of things. And so I would highly recommend that in your communication with coaches, there's always a positive message to it. Do not complain about anything, nothing, no complaints right now. What I would do is always look to, create a positive message so that it feels good when the coach reads your message. And so that's one thing that I would tell you is, I think, really important and something that needs to sit in the back of your mind as you're approaching your communication. So we're going to talk about the things that you can do. You need to lay out your action plan for the fall. You got to lay out your calendar to ensure that you're able to stay on schedule. So looking at your game days, looking at, weekend tournaments, if your high school does some tournaments, and really figuring out when can it make sense for you to get your emails out? When are you going to spend time on your recruiting process? Even if the coaches are not responding, you still need to be consistent. So you need to be creating content. You need to be sharing that with coaches. You need to be creative and always super positive. Lots of highlight reels. You're playing in the season where you play more matches than ever. You're playing all the time. So get that content and be sharing it with the coaches.
Yeah, I think the film piece, you're able to get that, utilize that to your advantage. Some great clips, pictures, like sharing, celebrating all that. We're coming off an Olympic year and celebrating the fact that on the women's side, both beach and indoor coming home with gold medals. And I think that the people we've been connecting with and I've been talking to, like everybody was watching, when our women won the indoor, and how exciting, and creating that momentum and that buzz and keep that going. And people, and I think sharing that and what inspired you, as you move forward into your season and everything like that. So when Kara talks about being positive, like there's an avenue right there. And we get to be back out doing this again. And I know we got to do this during club, but a lot of you did not have a chance to really do this during high school as well. And I know that there's always that pride. High school, a lot of you have talked about rival matches and how exciting that is. Like one of our kids, they are playing a high school match and they do it during the day, and they let all the kids from the school come into the gym to watch. Like that's great for our sport. Cool. Like that's really cool. So things like that, be creative. And maybe it's also, again, even something off the court that you're doing that's really cool. That's still being creative, and you need to share that because you want people to get to know who you are.
Okay, so we're going to talk about it being, what if it's crickets? This is going to be broken up into two little side topics here. First off, if you have been in communication with coaches, so if you are a 22 or a 2023, and you have been emailing and calling and engaged with college coaches, and all of a sudden there's a drop off and you're not hearing from them, that does not mean they're not interested. I may say that a few times tonight, but it's really important that you understand that you cannot assume anything. You just don't know what you don't know. So you need to make sure that you still stay proactive and still stay engaged. Now, if there hasn't been interest, if you've been reaching out to programs and you're not getting any interest whatsoever, and again, mainly for 22 and 23s where the lines of communication are open, college coaches are able to be communicating with you, and be continuing this recruiting process with you. And those are the two classes right now where you're going to see, the needle get pushed, right? Where you have the ability to make a decision to commit, to get on campus, those kinds of things, especially at the D1 world. But even Division 2 and Division 3, 22 and 23 is the priority at the moment. If you're not hearing from somebody or from anyone that you're reaching out to, you need to take a step back and you really need to reevaluate. And you need to look at your list. And one of the things that we talk about is getting evaluated, looking at where you are on a national level. Okay, where are you on a national level? I don't care if you are amazing in your small little town. How do you stack up among the rest of the country? And are you really targeting, the programs that you can actually play at? One thing I would encourage you to do is talk to your club coaches, talk to your high school coaches, ask them, who do I remind you of? Where did they go play? If you need an evaluation, if you need to get some sense of where you are athletically, that is something that we offer. We'd be happy to offer that too, and kind of talk to you a little bit about the conferences that we feel you should be targeting based on where you are academically and athletically. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that that's a really, really important piece. And no, you hit it all.
Yeah, if you're not hearing from somebody or from anyone that you're reaching out to, there's a big red flag
Yeah.
there that tells us that you're probably aiming too high. And you need to take a step back and ensure that you are targeting, programs where you can actually play. And the reality is we can't all be LeBron, right? But if you want to play at the next level, you can absolutely play. I've never in my career seen somebody that's really wanted to play at the next level not have options. There's definitely options if you're realistic.
Yep.
But that's where you can keep your aim high schools on your list, but then you've got to have a pretty significant chunk of programs that you're reaching out to that are more realistic. One of the things that we recommend, we have software, it's called Scout Scholar. On our software platform, you can download the app first to create your account, then you can download the app, and then you can actually create your target list of schools pretty easy on your phone and explore different programs, which is nice. All the contact information for the college coaches is there. You can also see their rosters and see who's committed. Rosters are getting updated really late right now. They're like, everyone's is still not done.
Correct.
And so one of the things that I will tell you is all of that is being updated at the moment. Our staff is quite frustrated, if you want to know the truth, because not everybody has had their media days and has updated everything. And then just as a little side note, during COVID, a lot of the people that were managing all these aspects of the websites and the sports business were let go.
They were. So, again, like a lot of budget cuts and people's positions and, communication staffs within the athletic departments were some of those that were hit hard. And so, yeah, Kara's absolutely right. Like it's slow. And there's been quite a few coaching changes, even like last minute, because of the fact that hiring freezes were in place. So even like updated coaches information has been slow to be added to the websites as well.
So just a heads up on there. It's taking a little bit of time because not everybody's posted and they haven't all posted because they don't all have a staff. So, well, FYI there. But Scout Scholar is great. It allows you to stay organized. You can create reminders for yourself and tasks, and just make sure that you and your family are all on the same page. And it's a nice place to stay organized. Another thing that's really, really crucial are these highlight reels. And as we head into high school season, it's really important that you are sharing content. If you're a player that's not playing during the high school season, maybe, you didn't make the team or something's coming up and, there's just not an opportunity there for you, whatever it is, you hate your coach. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that film is important. And so in our little breakdown of videos here, you're going to see a skills video. I would definitely encourage you to create content and get something out during these months, even if you're not playing. Sam, I think it's great when you break down this film. So
Sure.
let's get in here. I'm going to turn this volume off.
All right. So we have a setter here, Miss Turner. As a setter, you want again, first 10 to 15 seconds, you need to shine where you're putting up a great ball and your attacker is terminating the ball. Coaches want to see you as a setter be able to set all your attackers in the front row. So we had a couple to the pin, then we just ran our middle. We're going back to the pin again, and see the variety of sets that you're running. Do you run fast? Do you run slower? Do you move your hitters along the net? So again, really, really important to show you, there we go, back, so that you have range. Okay. If you're running a 5-1, obviously we want to see you setting from the front row. If we're running a 6-2, obviously making sure that you're releasing from the back row and getting your sets on for sure. The other piece of the puzzle that's important for setters is showing your ability to play defense. Again, if you're running a 6-2, we need to see you playing that floor defense in the back row. And if you're running a 5-1, it's the same thing as well. If you're as you're running a 5-1, we also want to see your ability to block. And when I say that, I'm not saying that you have to block every ball down, because that doesn't happen. The middles know that, as we'll talk about the middle video here in a few. But showing your ability to get up and put up a solid block, as I like to say, dropping those hands over the net, and then your ability to transition off, be ready to set as well. Okay. So, and look, like you're the captain of that floor, you're the quarterback. So again, what are you distributing to your hitters? You know, what's your reaction like, you know? So if you run that clip a little bit longer after you earn a point and showing your reaction, that's really, really important as well. Next one. Oh, we're into the middles. I love it. So again, first 10 to 15 seconds, you've got to be able to terminate the ball just like that. Coaches want to know that you are able to hit that ball. Now, middles, there are times you are definitely going to have to be savvy and look for some shots and put it to a deep corner, maybe tip to the middle of the floor, maybe tip to the tees. Absolutely put that in there as well. But that first 10 to 15 seconds needs to show you terminating the ball. You're a middle blocker. And so your primary, you know, piece of the puzzle here is the middle is to block the ball. So we need to show your ability to drop those hands, your lateral movement side to side. Yes, do I want to see you end some rallies with the block? Absolutely. But I also want to see you be able to move side to side and transition off the net, as I like to say, not along the net, and make yourself available. And if you are, by the way, the serving middle, absolutely show yourself playing some defense out there. Liberos, okay, to my bros, again, first 10 to 15 seconds, serve receive. You need to show that you can pass nails, pass confidently, and that then your setter can set up your attacker or dump like that for a kill as well. So that serve receive 10 to 15 seconds. Then we need to go in and show your ability to play some defense as well. If you are digging from middle back, awesome. If you play left back, great. If you play right back, put that all in there. The more versatile you are in the back row, the better. The other piece, being able to take that out of system ball, okay, just as that's being shown right now, and being able to set up your hitters in a great position so they can terminate for a kill. Obviously, if you are bump setting, fantastic. If you are somebody who is comfortable with your hands when you're behind that 3 meter line, you need to show that as well. The other piece is that you are, as the bro, you're that back row leader. So showing your ability to celebrate and really just shine when, you know, your hitter puts a ball down, like all that stuff, you know, let that play out in those clips as well. Okay, we got some pin action going on here. Again, first 10 to 15 seconds, right? We need for you to be able to terminate that ball. So if it's in a skill session like this, or it's in a match situation, 10 to 15 seconds. Then you need to show your ability to serve, receive, transition to attack, because most coaches are looking for their pins, especially on that left side, to be able to play 6 rotations. Then from there, obviously at the net, your ability to block, drop those hands, transition off to attack. If you hit a variety of sets along the net, show that as well. Savviness, off speed, deep shots, tips can be shown later on. And then back row play. So that defensive piece, again, your ability to play that defense, dig playable balls to the middle of the floor. And then, you know, a lot of times you're being used as an attacker from that back row, and we want to see your ability to attack from there as well.
That wraps up the highlight reels.
Yeah.
Do you need a breath? Emails. So we've talked about the consistency. We've talked about being positive, and certainly talking about, like Sam said, some of the stuff that's going on during your high school season, how fun it is when you face those rival matches, all of that. Always make sure when you're sending out these emails, you've got to have video. So that's one crucial aspect in this process, is always having content, and keeping your messages short and sweet, especially this time of year. Another little piece of advice that I have is to make sure that you are following these programs on social media, because you learn so much about what's happening and are they winning? Are they losing? What are the scores? Makes it a lot easier when you go to do your emails, actually, like, hey, just want to wish you the best of luck at the, you know, Love Invitational, you know, next weekend, or whatever it is, whatever match they have facing, or whatever opponents they have coming up. So Using social media to help customize your emails, especially while they're playing, makes it really easy and actually pretty quick to be able to just add in one little sentence for that particular program.
Yeah, that's huge.
That actually wraps up our presentation today. We're happy to address any questions that you may have. You can always DM us. We will reach out to you tomorrow and touch base. Happy to address any questions that you have, but we thank you for joining us. And then again, just so you know, we are going to change the day that we do our
Sunday
recruiting seminars, probably to Sunday. So we'll get an email out and let you all know, and definitely post it on social. But thanks so much for tuning in, and have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.